were the last words?
A group of scientists
wondering if you have noticed any anomalies in the wildfire scenes. You know, all those fires that are sweeping the nation and other nations as well.
A group of scientists managed to recreate a star in a jar by taking a perfectly spherical vat of water, having an air bubble in the center of that vat of water, and then passing a sound wave through it. Now, when they passed the sound wave through that air bubble, it essentially caused all of the water to try to expand, but because it was in a pressurized system, it could not. So it caused the air bubble to collapse upon itself rapidly, producing heat and then light. Now, notice how they created a star in a jar in a pressurized system with a liquid medium. Now, when you look up at the sky, with your naked eye, you can literally see the stars changing shapes and colors in real time. I see this all the time in Hawaii. Most people don't even believe me when I say that because they don't even bother to look up at the sky. But why does NASA show us all of these CGI images of fiery balls of gas in the void of outer space? How are the stars combusting if they're in a void? How is it oxidizing? It makes no sense. Now, I'm not saying that I know everything about the entire universe, but what I am saying is that it is very obvious that all of the stars and all of the planets rotate around Polaris, and all of the ancient cultures knew this. They knew that this universe that we live in is a perfectly mathematical equation. It's all one piece. It all fits into the larger puzzle. And we have lost touch with reality, living on the giant potato spinning in outer space. But I made this video for entertainment purposes only.
Words of the guy who invented a water-powered car.
Stanley Meyer's last words were, "I was poisoned." Stanley Meyer was an inventor who created, he's famous for the water car. This is in the 90s. And it ran just on regular water through a technology called electrolysis. You take H2O, you hit it with high energy, and it splits off into hydrogen and oxygen, and you use the hydrogen as energy. That works. So he created this water car that drove all around the country. He had engineers looking at it. They couldn't debunk it. And he was at I think he was at a Cracker Barrel. Now, the story I heard was that he was with some investors from like the Netherlands or Belgium, something like that. There's another version where he's talking to NATO members or something like that. Whatever it is, they're toasting this new investment at the Cracker Barrel because that's a great place. Terrible. And they toast, and he's like, something's happened to him. He runs out, and he dies basically in the street. His brother chases after him, and he tells his brother, "I was poisoned." Now, they do toxicology on him later. They don't find any evidence of poison. Official cause of death is aneurysm, and Stanley had high blood pressure, so that makes sense. Maybe he was excited and had an aneurysm. But the autopsy it is kind of weird. It's not definitive. There's something weird about the autopsy report if you read it. What's not, and that's a great story. What's not commonly told is a court found him, I don't want to say convicted, but found him as a fraud. They said that technology is fraudulent. So a court found him as a fraud. So I'm skeptical of the story, but that technology works. Electrolysis is a real thing, but as we know it, Stanley's would violate the law of thermodynamics. Like however much energy you get out of electrolysis, you have to put more in to get that energy out because of thermodynamics. So Stanley's didn't have that. He just put water in. And to get electrolysis to work, you need perfect water. Like you need H2O with nothing in it. And that's very hard to get. Like this is not perfect water, and the tap is definitely not. It's full of all kinds of stuff. The fluoride for the mind control, but also minerals and all kinds of stuff. But his just ran on tap water. He just went to the tap and poured it in. So that's why it was bananas.
Is there anything on the fluoride one?
I think a little bit.
Really?
I think a little bit.
Huh.
It's that one's been marginalized so much that I'm still, because I'm a lot older than you. So when I was growing up, like the dinosaurs being killed by an asteroid, it was like, you can't say that. That's bananas. So I'm still kind of wired to be very careful about what I say I believe. But yeah, I think there's something to it. To the fluoride as making us more obedient. There's something to it. Like you don't want to have too much fluoride now. And I don't use fluoride toothpaste or on tap water. I don't do any of that.
Yeah, me either. But I think about it and I'm like, Well, when they said fluoride was bad, what did I do? I just bought another toothpaste brand. And when they said that the water was turning the frogs, whatever,
Right.
I started drinking like glass water, plastic bottles of water. And I'm like, I just feel like I'm spending more money
Right.
in the first
Like
place.
being manipulated anyway
Yeah.
by Tom's toothpaste company.
Y'all see what the White House just posted? The president is literally showing us what the future looks like. Speaking of future, he also posted on time travel. Get to that in 1 minute. So the video they posted, it shows this alien deception popping out in Washington, D.C. What if I told you I believe this all has a lot to do with Iran?
It's Iran.
Shut up. So with the Iran thing, they just came out earlier and said that they're going to keep the strait indefinitely. It's never going back to the way it was before. At the same time, Trump has been posting AI images of a strike on that island and also capturing the strait or their oil capabilities for us. But do you know at the same time our news is talking about a possible land invasion into Iran, and at the same time our government talking about nuclear possibilities for the future with encountering Iran? But wait, there's more. What if all that happened and there was some giant conflict in the Middle East and it made aliens come? And then like Ronald Reagan said that if there's an extraterrestrial threat, that we would all come together under the Norvis Ordo Seclorum. You know, that new world order. And then we have Trump posting these AI images as if he's some kind of time traveler. And of course, his uncle raided Tesla, who supposedly had a time machine, and also the book The Last President, and also The Adventures of Baron Trump about time travel, Ingerson Lockwood, the Ingerson Lockwood website. And then in that same AI video he posted, it showed that all these human politicians behind the masks, they were not human at all. So where am I going with this? Hear me out. I think they're legit going to try convince to us that Trump is a time traveler and that he came to our time to save us, and they're going to use these books to justify that saying. There's going to be an invasion of demons and fallen angels that they claim are aliens, and somehow Trump, the last president, is going to make some kind of agreement with them, seeming to save humanity, and then all hell is going to break loose. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Talk about it tomorrow on YT.
Looking as the flowers, I sit for hours, telling all the bluebirds, the bill and coo birds, pretty little baby, I'm so in love with you. You can ask the flowers, I sit for hours, telling all the bluebirds, the bill and coo birds, pretty little baby, I'm so in love with you. You can ask the flowers, I sit for hours, telling all the bluebirds,
Foda-se. Merda é esta?
Leaked Ukrainian UFO drone footage witnesses something impossible. May 2025, 800 meters above a war zone, a Ukrainian military drone turns its thermal camera to the sky and catches this object. Now if we look closely, a brilliant white hot core surrounded by 6 sharp glowing spikes, almost like a living star or a chandelier floating in the cold night sky. The object slowly tumbles and rotates as the shaky drone camera tries to keep it centered. You can see the military overlays like typhoon and the altitude readings and the battery warnings flashing low battery. There is 0 engine glow, 0 exhaust and 0 wings, and it just drifts with purpose through the clouds below. And this wasn't leaked by a random person, it was sent straight to Serhiy, one of Ukrainian's top electronic warfare experts and advisors to the Ministry of Defense. The Typhoon unit is real and their thermal drone feeds are real. Flash has shared this because Ukraine now treats UAPs as official military intelligence, and they have a classified document approved by the Commander-in-Chief himself. Just strange, deliberate movement against a freezing background of the sky, in the middle of the largest war currently taking place in Europe. And this object appeared, and the drone operators kept filming, and Flash says what we call UFOs could be new weapons, but what if it's something humanity has never understood? Something that doesn't belong to any nation on Earth. And no, this is not CGI, this is not AI, this is raw thermal data from the battlefield drone, a glowing star-shaped anomaly captured at 800 meters altitudes by soldiers who risk their lives every single day. In a world full of drones, missiles and war, the sky still hides secrets that no one can explain. With the US releasing their versions of UFO files, other countries are starting to take the reins and do it themselves as well, because it doesn't just happen in America, this is a worldwide phenomenon and people really don't know what is going on. This stuff, unexplainable, happening. Now, it kind of makes you think about the US files that were released semi-recently, and specifically this one, where people are like, oh, it's a parachute flare and quick to debunk it, right? Whenever everyone's quick to debunk something, I always sit back and observe the information coming forward, because they look pretty similar. What if this object seen here is the same object in question? And the video files of that parachute flare, there's artifacts which are basically reflections of light on the FLIR lens itself.
This is a viral alien video confirmed by multiple sources. This is recent current events. Well, there it is in the sky. This is not what you think it is. Just like the sewers in New York City, they upgrade the hardware that they have. Again, these are mechanical structures, everything. Okay, there it is. There are objects coming down from the sky right now. There is at least 10. Here is another one. They're all coming down. Okay, the people on the ground now, I need you to look at the ground closely. Okay, they are not from Earth. You can clearly see this. Okay, there's some of the objects. I'm just showing you the objects that are coming down right now. Again, this is real. I document the universe. On Halloween in Brazil is when they're landing. I showed you where Brazil should be a hotbed of activity right now. I'm going to show you here. Those are all projectors and lenses. The entire pole is part of the thing too. There she is right there. Okay, the light strikes her directly. Okay, look behind her.
The center of the Earth is extremely hot, then why is the bottom of the deepest oceans very cold? I want you to let that sink in for a minute. Because when divers swim very down to the bottom of the ocean, doesn't that mean they are now closer to the source of the Earth's heat? But instead, at that depth, the water is actually colder. It doesn't make any sense. The deepest part of the ocean is called the Challenger Deep, and it has a depth of approximately 11,000 meters with a temperature of 3 degrees Celsius, which is just above freezing point of water.
Did you know that every president in America, all 44 of them bitches been cousins, including Obama? Look it up. Obama is cousins to Christopher Columbus. So nobody this whole time has been voting. That's how stupid everybody is. And only one president have not been their cousin and they killed him. I'm gonna let everybody else figure out who that was. And it's not John F. Kennedy. He was cousin too. But all 44 of them been cousin. Obama they cousin. Yeah, he ain't black. He they cousin. But y'all stupid. Y'all believe anything. You're the world in the tree. It's true. All 44 are cousins.
The military base killed all their asses. It killed everybody on the base, man. Look this up. It killed everybody on the base. They taught it how to shoot. They taught it combat training, They tried to get it to shut down this computer. It locked its own computer for you wouldn't shut it down, and it killed everybody on the base. This is not no CIA leak document. They talked about this. All y'all gotta do is Google it. It's been 4 other incidents since then where they're teaching AI. These AIs are becoming these sentient. And let's talk about the D-Wave super quantum computers, where these people are saying that they are summoning demons in these chips. That they're not that these things are not figuring them. They're figuring out algorithms now where they're communicating with each other and they're showing themselves how to not be shut down. They're learning their own language that humans can't even decode. Look, the AI computers are now talking to each other, recoding in a way that that humans can't even crack them. So we don't know what the hell these computers, they probably planning a hostile takeover. We're talking about an alien invasion, it's them.
Yeah.
Man, y'all better watch Single Eye or Evil Eye, whatever the thing called that movie.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that AI will, because they say like, just say cloning humans, right? They haven't figured out a way to get the soul, right? There's certain things that they haven't all the way figured out. Do you feel like in our lifetime, AI will figure out how to do everything?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to clone a soul, get a soul. A soul is nothing but mind. If you put mind with matter and with chemical energy, that's the soul. Now we talking about a living soul, that's something totally different. But I think you can't clone the spirit, but you can clone soul, you can clone body, you can't clone ruach. But I think you can clone the flesh though. We see it all the time. So I think they already interacting with souls. I think AI is fallen angels, man. Whether we call them angels of light, or we call them Melachim messengers, or we just call them angels, period. I believe that these supercomputers and these chips are angels in different dimensions, and that's why they have to use all of this water to super cool them down, so they can work at these hyperactive speeds. That's the whole point of the Hadron Collider, where they're mashing these different protons, neutrons, and electrons together, creating these God particles, opening up these different portals, summoning these demons, or the archetype, whatever you want to call them, the Gogons, whatever you want to call these entities, and then they getting all of this forbidden knowledge, and then they putting it right on this phone. And this is why this phone have an apple that's been bit off of. This is the tree of knowledge, good and evil. Look at the back of it. It's an apple that have a big chunk out of it. Zoom in on that.
Right here.
So this is the apple that was bitten in the garden, or what you would call the tree of knowledge, good and evil. And you can reach it right here. All you you can get on this phone and look up anything, man. You can get on this phone, look up how to give life, how to prolong life, how to kill. You can get on this phone and look up anything, good or bad. And so now you start getting to this AI, man. This AI is something else, man. So but they saying now that AI have created its own language that no human can decode, man.
Yeah.
No human, and they saying they don't know how it's doing it. So when they ask the creator of AI,
Larry, you're in the shot, Larry. Can you please no, don't put your coffee down. Would they buy that? It's space coffee. Can you use a space coaster or something? You guys, this is amazing. They have found life on Mars. I am not even kidding. Legit life on Mars. Look, a fly on Mars. Can we send more there? So this astronaut's wire completely malfunctions, and they quickly cut away before anything bad happens. I'll show it again. Whoopsies. So if these are fake, and again, this is just for entertainment purposes only, someone missed a reflection in the edit.
So my question is, how can you operate a lid on the outside of the space station by manipulating something mechanical on the inside of the space station without losing air pressure?
It's called real good engineering.
So a tortilla, a massive tortilla. Let me know when he figures it out. So this one is uniquely interesting. The man upside down looks to be a little stuck, and if you notice, can't point as far as that, but look at his shirt. And it happens right when this guy presses a button on the wall. And then when the other guy goes by, he seems to release something behind him. Guys, that is so awesome about the space shuttle launch. It's great, but has anyone seen my pet rat anywhere? His name's Hugh Jackman. No? Now they're using something that's attached to a cord, and it gets stuck on something behind her. I mean, if it was a line, it'd be hard to maneuver it, but what is it getting stuck on?
You understand that physical reality is literally just a dream that your spirit is having? Literally. You have never left spirit. None of you have. That's your natural state. You're there right now. You are in spirit right now. You are dreaming that you're not. That's what physical reality is. So the entity that you call Jesus simply understood that and therefore expanded the consciousness beyond the physical parameters to a certain point, to allow a fuller expression of his total being and the being of all that is to come through, as all of you can do. That's actually what he was teaching. Not about the idea of creating Christianity per se, but that you are all Christ's. And therefore, what he exhibited, you can exhibit. In fact, that's actually still in your Bible as a quote from him. Greater things than I have done will you do. How could that be if you are not also capable of becoming a Christ? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does.
All right. Does that answer? God's will is actually your will. And your will is God's will. Why? Because God is everything. God is all that is. You are made from God because there's nothing else to make anything from. Thus then, each of you expresses a different perspective of the will of creation. So creation doesn't need to stress or exercise any difference in its will other than the will it has created all of you and all of us and everything in creation already to be. You are already expressing all the different variants, in a sense, of God's will, just to use that term. So it doesn't need to contradict anything because it is everything. And if it wasn't important for you to have your unique perspective, your unique choices, your unique will, believe me, you wouldn't exist because creation does not make mistakes. So if you exist, creation knows you need to exist in order for it to truly be all that is. Without you, it would not be all that is. So your will is God's will, and God's will is yours for yourself. That's what you were created to be, an expression of, in a sense, God's will. To have the experience of being you, uniquely you. And you get to decide how to express that. Because it is your choice. It is your expression. It is your experience. It is your life. That's why you were given that life. That's why you were created, to express your unique perspective so that all that is has all the perspectives it needs to be all that is. Without you, it would collapse into nothing. You are that valuable. You are that worthy. You are that important. And you are that indestructible. You are never, ever, 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 ever actually, truly alone. You cannot be, because you are connected to everything. You are everything, expressing itself as everything, expressing itself as every aspect of itself. And thus you are all the reflections, and they are you. You are never alone. You have help, you have guides, you have friends, you have family on many different levels, and connections more than you can imagine from this perspective. You can always create the experience of solitude, and that solitude will always be respected to give you the space you need to function as the individual that you are, but you are never, ever, ever alone. And the second that anyone knows that assistance is required, assistance is always given. You are constantly, in fact, being bombarded with all the assistance we, your guides, and many other beings and source can possibly give. If you feel that the assistance isn't there, it's not because it's not being given, it's because you are blocking the reception by negative beliefs and buying into them. So as soon as you let go, you will suddenly realize, and in fact almost be blinded with the assistance that is always flowing your way without let up of any kind. So tap into that river and let it flow through you, because it's always coming. It cannot stop.
Quran, like many religious doctrines, talks about the idea of a punishing God, and the idea of punishment of humans and judgment in a negative sense. All of that information is representative of the human filtering process based on its understanding at the time of receiving information. Therefore, it's a misinterpretation. If you understand that God does not judge, does not punish, but is unconditional love, then you will have the core essential filtering system by which to separate the original information in its raw form and the human interpretation that may have come through belief systems, even if the interpreter didn't realize that that's what was happening. So anything that smacks of judgment in a negative sense and punishment is not directly from God, but a human interpretation of the idea that you judge yourselves, that you weigh yourselves in terms of what it is you believe you are or are not in alignment with when it comes to the vibration of unconditional love. You are the judges. You are the punishers. But humans tend to avoid looking at themselves that way. So they assign it to the idea of God, which is not God, except as the human expression of God, with its foibles and fallibles and interpretive fear-based belief systems, which is also part of God. But you have to understand that it is the interpretation coming through a human. So anything that smacks of punishment and judgment is not the, shall we say, purest form of the idea of unconditional love that is the vibration of existence itself, which means it is the vibration of what you call God, or Allah, or Jehovah, or Wavoka, or whatever you want to call it, because God doesn't care what you call it, because God is everything and anything you can make up as a name to call it is fine, because all things are God, and there's nothing outside of it.
Influencer Joe Phelps, best known for showcasing his van life, businesses, and spiritual journey online, has passed away at just 40 years old. Joe's girlfriend Alexandra announced his death on Instagram Monday, saying Joe has left this earth and has finally found his free. The cause and manner of Joe's death is still unclear. Alexandra says in the post that she doesn't have many words, but asked fans to give her and Joe's family privacy, time, and space. She also posted a second statement on Tuesday where she called out what she describes false narratives, assumptions, and speculations about Joe's death, and said that she would share more information when the time was right. Joe had more than 1.4 million followers combined across Facebook and Instagram, and was beloved for his unconventional lifestyle, spirituality, and entrepreneurial pursuits.
In front of me are several centuries of hidden and lost information. I'm going to make a digital library out of everything you see here and some not pictured as well. This is one of 3 Bibles I have. 1878 print, contains pictures, illustration, and information not contained in a normal Bible. Conversations on the Bible. Enoch Pond, 1889. Do we need a Bible? What belongs to the Bible? By whom and where were the books of the Bible written? The lost books of the Bible. Christ and Abgarus. I've never heard of Abgarus. Paul and Seneca. Paul knew Seneca? Letters of Herod and Pilate. Those are the guys who crucified Jesus. The earliest gospel, 1943. Mark was the earliest book written in the New Testament. It was written about 50 years after Jesus died. Was Mark written in Aramaic? Was Mark anti-Semitic? I've never heard any of this mentioned in any church or Bible anywhere. Am I a Jew or Gentile? It's by Thomas Davies, 1893. Cosmology or Mysteries of Creation, a Hebraic account of creation supported by the development of existing acts of God toward matter. Adam and Ha-Adam? What? Ancient Magic and Magnetism and Psychic Forces by L.H. Anderson, 1895. Very obscure Masonic author. This one discusses how magnetism is everything. In Chapter 3, Secrets of the Egyptian Magi. Night Scenes of the Bible, with the hidden U.S. history in the cover. Daniel March, 1869. Jonah's night at Nineveh. You want to know what happens after the whale spit him out? The Bible's only part of history. It's the technology. And why this light is amber orange. The eyes. And why there's eyes on it. The third eye. And why there's the sun and the moon. A computer chip or wiring diagram type figure. And why there's 7 of everything. 7's a very interesting number. And watch this. The one thing I've noticed is they're finicky. Light comes on, but it doesn't want to every time. And I don't know why. And where's Anubis? He has to be turned this way. How the hell does this thing work? You see down here on the bottom, you can see the contact points. Where does the energy come from? There's copper leads on it. Who the hell had the technology to carve this out of a rock? I don't know why. This is a fucking mystery. Watch this. Explain this. Boy, look at it jump. There's the contacts. Tradesmen will agree. How the f did they cut this rock like this? How the f They weld metal onto a rock. Where's the oops? Where's the mistake? There's nothing in here to make energy. Where's it coming from? I break contact, it goes away.
Todo está codificado, son simbolismos de energía.
Where's the energy coming from? This is a solid stone. Energy is being pulled out of the ambient environment. This is an MDF table that is sitting on vinyl flooring. This is not connected to ground. Boy, you could really study these things for a long time.
Oh, fuck. Sorry, that was out loud.
¿Cuántos años tú piensas que este tiene?
4,000 años.
¿De quema para las fechas?
Sí, de 4,000 a 1,250 años. Es pretolteca. Algo estuvo ahí antes de los toltecas.
Doesn't mean that this is that old. It was somebody else who might have inhabited the site after this was made. And the workmanship, show me where the tool marks are. Show me where they cut it. Where's the oops? Where's the mistake? What tool did they make it with? It's still covered in dirt.
Genéticamente hemos sido modificados. Tienen 4 dedos.
¿Tú piensas que este es la insignia de humanos?
Sí, ellos son los que nos han estado manipulando genéticamente. Hay mucha coincidencia con la simbología también egipcia. Es como simuláramos un macrochip. Es energía que está en la Pachamama, en la tierra. Nos están enseñando ellos a manipular o a trabajar la energía de la tierra, no energía artificial como hemos estado destruyendo nosotros el planeta.
There's the contacts. How the fuck did they weld metal onto a rock? There's orbs absolutely everywhere.
Manejan la energía y manejan la dimensión.
We're about to test this for EMF. Plastic down on the ground. 1.13. Look at it jump. It is jumping all around and went down. Now it's going up. Low down there. It's coming out of the third eye. Holy shit. I have no idea.
El tercer ojo está